This is the Post Shift Podcast, a raw look at the hospitality industry.
What's happening, Post Shifts? I'm a little bit late today. I'm going to post this tonight. I apologize. I was planning on doing something a little bit different this week. It is a good friend of mine passed away 4 years ago, and I wanted to sort of do a tribute to him, but it didn't come together. So it will happen maybe next week. I've been trying to get some bartenders. Wrangling bartenders, of course, is like wrangling cats. I've been trying to get some bartenders together to get some audio together and share their Brendo Nintendo stories. But I talked about mental health last week. I've talked about so much over the last year, and so there is sometimes like I'm so busy right now with all the companies and everything all the projects that I'm working on, all the little things that I'm trying to get done, that I sometimes forget about savoring the good things, and it just takes one bad thing to fucking like just take me out. And I kind of wanted to sort of keep going with mental health and sort of. So this week I was lucky enough that I actually it was kind of crazy. I got a Lifetime Achievement Award from a local magazine called Eat Magazine. It's voted by the readers, so I want to thank everybody, and I'm completely grateful for that. It was a shock to be able to get this award, and although the last 10 years or 12 years I've been here in the country has gone by really, really quick. And so I look back and I think, and I've talked about this in patience and a whole bunch of stuff, so fuck it, I'm going to touch on it all again. So, I came to the country 14 years ago with, I think $3,000 in my pocket. Came to Canada with $3,000 in my pocket for a girl. That didn't last too long. I got a good job. Started working there. I worked at my first job, Moxie's, for roughly 3 years. 3 years before I moved over to Clive's. So Clive's is really the turning point for me in my career. That's 2009. And in 2009, so we're already talking we really are already talking 10 and a half years ago. I thought that I owned my own restaurant by the time I was 35 or 30. That happened when I was 33, but I owned my own restaurant by the time I was 30, which I'd been sort of working on while I'd been Moxie's as well. And so I had all these dreams, and I had to set myself goals and milestones and timelines and all sorts of stuff, and it really stressed me out. But now looking back, all the stuff I've done in the last 5 to 10 years, I'm going to say 5 because there's a milestone there at 5, or 6 now, is really outstanding. It wasn't so much about from when I took over Clive's to when I opened up Little Jumbo, which was roughly about 4 years, because we did some amazing things at Clive's. I'm still so happy and blown away because it always pops up in your Facebook memories and stuff like that. And so I look back and see what we achieved at Clive's, and it is mind-blowing. I took a 75-seat restaurant or 75-seat lounge in a hotel, and made it one of the top 4 best hotel bars at Tails 2 years in a row against the Artisan, the Savoy, Clyde Common, and Portland, some big names. And I did that through sacrificing a lot, but I also came up with a system of doing events that got people in. And I did events on Fridays and Saturdays because we were so dead that Fridays and Saturdays weren't much better than a Monday, Tuesday. So we did all these events, special nights, features, all these sort of things to get people through the door and become the epicenter of cocktail culture in Victoria, if not Canada to a degree at that time. So I look back now, I left Clive's to open Little Jumbo in 2013, launched my first book in 2013, Cocktail Culture. I co-authored that with Nate Caudle. I think you can still get a copy here and there on Amazon. It hasn't been in print for a while. That was 2013. I left Little Jumbo at the end of 2014, unceremoniously, hostily, at the end of 2014. And so from 2014 to the end of 2019, that 5 years, only been 5.5 years since then, I look back and wonder, all the things I've done. I've written another book. I've opened, I think when I opened up Misfits in Singapore last year, that was my 10th restaurant in 5 years. So I did 11 and 12 while I was over there. So 12 restaurants in 5 years, either consulted, owned, opened, designed, so on and so forth. And so for all the youngsters out there, and I talk about this all the time, you can be patient, you can set short-term goals, but also set short-term goals that set you up to achieve what you want to achieve. So this year is, again, this last couple of years has been all about education for me, self-education again. I got my CSS this year. Gained my Cognac Educator program in the end of May, which is a really big deal. So what I want you to do, if you're a young bartender listening to this right now, if you're 22, 23, and you're in a small city and you're like wondering about cocktail culture and how we're going to make this work, what we're going to do, and all this sort of stuff, I want to give you a piece of advice. Set your goal for 10 years. Then give yourself a milestone at 5 years. And then give yourself a milestone at 2 years. And work your way back. And then figure out exactly how you... Now, I don't regret opening my first restaurant. I don't regret opening up FTW in 2017. But I do regret sacrificing a lot for myself to push my career forward, but not really looking at myself inside. And that's why I went back to school to do my diploma. I went back to do my CSS and doing my cognac educator, stuff like that. So you kind of want to look at it 3 different ways. You want to look at yourself as what can I do for personal betterment. So I've talked about podcasts and audiobooks. Please stop listening to music when you're at the gym. Like, listen to a podcast, listen to a book. Now, you think that you're not listening because you're concentrating on the run or you're breathing or anything like that, but it is subconsciously sucking into your brain. And so these sort of things can teach you things as you go forward. Like, now, don't get me wrong, I've always talked about the virtues of Gary Vaynerchuk. And so I've always talked about the virtues of Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is a really big one for me because a lot of people listen to him for a couple of times, and probably the same with me. They probably listen to my podcast a couple of times and go, that guy's a fucking wanker. But every time I listen to him, I pick up 1 or 2 more new things. And don't get me wrong, it can be repetitive because you always have to sort of go back to zero when it comes to talking to people and doing things. So looking after yourself is a big one. Mental health, please look after yourself, young bartenders. You don't need to die to get to a certain goal in a certain amount of time. If your body is breaking down because you're working so hard, this is not a good thing. I've done this myself many, many, many times over. And I have the virtues of hard work and sacrifice. But there's been many times when I've worked an 18-hour day, then had 2 hours sleep, gone back to work, worked another 18 hours days, and done this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and your body just can't take it. And while you're 22, 23, 24, you might be able to take it because you're young. You can push through that. But when you get to my age, when you start getting onto your 40 years old, this is when your body starts really showing some wear and tear. Like your brain starts showing wear and tear, your sleeping patterns, your ankles, your knees, that sort of thing start showing wear and tear. So look after yourself now as a 22, 23-year-old bartender, bar manager, whatever, so that you can seed later on. So then you look at your career. Now, career-wise and self sort of tie in because it is you, but your career is very separate from you. You can detach yourself from your career as a self person, and this sort of separates into like a split personality sort of thing. But I have bartenders come to me all the time. It's like, how do I get more notice? How do I get those drunken trips? Like, if you're really passionate about your craft of cocktails, then there's no reason why you can't post a good picture of a cocktail or prep or something that you're doing in your life every single day on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, so on and so forth. Now, this is a big thing. Always keep in mind, document and don't create. Don't overthink your copy. Don't overthink your picture. Just do it. And you'll be surprised how quickly it works out for you and how good it comes out and how many people follow you. Organic, authentic, don't overthink it, just put it out there. And putting out these things like your prep or a new recipe and that sort of thing takes 2 seconds. There's apps out there, I can overlay a recipe over a cocktail picture. Tons of stuff you can do. It's not that hard, you can really put forward. And these things add up. And it gives you exposure, and you can talk about Instagram influencers and blah, 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 and you want to not do this. But in this day and age, you've got to play by the rules of the new game. And the new game includes social media. It's a big thing, so you have to do this. And finally, you've got your venue or the place you work, so on and so forth. Now, period. I've been reading on Reddit lately about it all. If you're not happy at your job, stop working there. Go get another job. You don't need to keep working yourself, killing yourself, getting underpaid, getting short paid, all this stuff. Get another job. You'll find a boss and manager and owner that will be loyal to you for what you do. Don't kill yourself if you're not getting the returns that you need. So I'm not sure what I'm going to title this podcast as, but I've been talking long enough about it. I want to give a shout out to all my industry friends here in Victoria. This week is tough. If you need anything, please call me. It's a rough week. We lost a really great man a couple of years ago, and I never want to get a phone call like I got that day and have to deal with any of you guys passing away. So if you've ever got issues, fuck, I'm tearing up. If you haven't got issues, please hit me up. I'm always available. I'm always there for a chat or a text, okay? So, on that note, with me almost tearing up, have a good week, guys. This week, I think, is Tish Harkis on Friday. I'm really looking forward to it. Saturday night, I'm at the Mint doing a live podcast with 3 of my very best friends, and so that's going to be an absolute hoot. So, have a good week, guys. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Post Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you're listening, whatever platform you're on, give me a good rating, subscribe, listen along. I'm going to keep going. I really enjoy sitting down with people and learning where they're from, what they did, and how they got to where they were. So if you love it, give me a good 5 stars. If you don't, give me 1 and I'll try harder.